Hi, friends. Host Eric here. Host of Talking with Famous People. Have you found your tenderness? Have you explored it? Have you explored the tenderness within?
I'll be right. How's it going?
I just started live streaming.
Oh.
I titled it, Have You Found Your Tenderness? If so, where was it located? Was it deep inside your heart?
That's where yours is?
Well, I'm asking the people.
I want to know the people speak too.
The question of the people today is, have you found your tenderness? And if so, where is it located?
That's a good question. This can be for many different places.
Is it deep within your heart? That's the real question. If you find tenderness someplace else, hi, Ali Malik, you're probably way off base. You know? Tenderness belongs deep within your heart, right next to your emotions. If you've never experienced emotions before, I don't blame you. No, I don't have blue suede shoes on. I have my normal brown flip-flops on. Hello. I'm here on vacation in the desert. I'm not feeling especially motivated to live stream. I don't really have a whole hell of a lot to say today, but I'm hopeful that some enterprising young chatter will engage me with interesting concepts to talk about. Lawnmower is still in search of his tenderness. Here's a hint, Lawnmower. It's deep within your heart. That's where it lies. Okay? So you got to find it. You got to find your tenderness deep within your heart. It's right next to your dewdrops, usually. If you can locate your dewdrops, then you can probably find your tenderness. Jade, I'm not going to waste my time arguing with you. Isaiah Rude, I'm going to give you the same hint I gave to Lawnmower, which is you're going to have to look deep within your heart. Well, I found you actually quite instructive the other night, Jade. It's like, I'm not going to try to teach somebody who's completely wrong about everything because it's going to be frustrating, especially if they're arguing with me about the legitimacy of what I'm telling them. So it was instructive about remembering not to bang my head against the wall. So anyway, tenderness. I'm feeling particularly tender at the moment because it's Sleepy Week, Jade, I'm just not going to have you bother me tonight. Will you be watching the Neuralink presentation on Friday? I have no idea what that is, Claude. That's the thing. One has to draw a line. With people who want to engage meaningfully, they're going to be interested in definitions because this is a lexicographical tool ultimately. If she's not interested in definitions, she's not interested in engaging meaningfully, she's just trolling. Even if she doesn't mean to be. I'm sure that Jade can't help it. She doesn't know any better. She's probably ESFP or something, but whatever. I mean, I think Mike Jones is Cloud, but I could be wrong. What part of you is the moistly tenderness? Well, I would say that, I experience a lot more tenderness now in my life in general than I used to. And in large part because, I'm able to. There's not a lot of conflict or difficulties or whatever that would cause me to be more defensive. I think everybody is ultimately pretty tender in their true form, so to speak.
I could barely breathe.
Okay, well, look, Lawnmower. What I'm trying to tell you and everybody else is I'm human too. Sometimes people are successful at getting under my skin. I prefer that not to happen. And somebody like Jade is not engaging meaningfully about the topic. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it with her because she's just trying to attack, basically. She doesn't want to engage meaningfully. You might say, well, that's not fair in some way. Whatever. Then they don't need to come around. Look, I'm not a perfect saint. Don't really want to be. And the reality is sometimes the holistic truth of it is more important than whatever specific arguments you can make in this instance. It's an FI thing, I guess. Fuck people who are just coming around here to attack, who aren't able to engage intellectually or willing to. I'm not in the mood for it. Sometimes I'm more in the mood to cross swords than others. Who's more concerned about COVID, NE or SE dominance? Oh, well, I would assume NE. I would assume that I would assume SE dominance, but I'm not sure either of them. I don't think either of the action types are particularly down with COVID. I wouldn't imagine. I expect it to be the interface types who are down with COVID.
FEs, I
feel pretty good about controlling my emotions most of the time. You're talking about Neuralink. Okay, well, I don't know what to think about that. Everyone's tender in the butthole after a long splish splash party. I do kind of have the action types are your SE and NE types. They both have action functions. Those four types have action functions of the dominant function, NE or SE. Okay, well, I have my doubts about the ability. I don't apologize or feel bad about anything that I do around here generally. If I do, then I say it. But by and large, my position on this is there's too much. There's not rage. There's no rage in it. It's not rage. There's too many good ideas to waste my time engaging with people who aren't able or willing to engage intellectually. And if this person is just here to, attack me and attack my legitimacy without any meaningful warrants, it's like you'll know there are no meaningful warrants by this person. They come in here, they attack my legitimacy, and they don't address anything I'm saying. So I'm not going to waste my time. I don't want to. Judicious types, I'm not familiar with which types that refers to, though. I would guess your interface types, which are your TE DOMs and your FE DOMs, are most, probably TESI and FESI would be most inclined to worry about this sort of things. But I don't know for sure. It's just a speculative answer, given that I haven't really thought about it much. It's a good question. I think, though, that there's a difference between being concerned about COVID and being concerned about health. Because, it's not like the COVID thing is really an issue of actual health consideration. It's more of a social thing. I would suspect FE types maybe more. Low TI, you got to have low TI. It's not. No, I don't want to like you, Jade. I don't want to like you. There's nothing to like about you. You're a waste of my time. Well, SE types tend to be decisive in the sense that they're executive, they decide things and do them. But it's important also to draw a distinction between where and what kind of action is being done. So there's two basic areas in which action is taken. One is metaphysical plane where language action is taken like this. That's the native plane of extroverted intuition. And then there's the external physical world, which involves a lot more actual doing of stuff and less talking about it. And that's the domain of the extroverted sensor. Both types are prone to taking action, but in their respective domains. So, and it's one of the reasons why I am fundamentally reactive to bullshit in this domain. I don't like to see my native ecosystem littered with garbage, and especially part of the ecosystem where I spend a lot of time, namely discussing cognitive functions and why people attend to the way they do and what it means to have an intentional manner, what it means to have a personality, defining those terms in a meaningful way, So it's going to be annoying to me when somebody comes in and tries to dissemble about that and says, oh, well, you just disagreed on definitions, as though that were somehow, you could put the word just in front of that and have it mean less. I mean, you're talking about a lexicographical tool. Of course, definitions are the only thing that matters, The right definitions validated in multiple metrics. The wrong ones don't. So why am I going to spend time trying to find common ground with somebody who's there spraying graffiti on nature, basically. I mean, the thing to remember is that extroverted sensing, using the intentional manner extroverted sensing, usually marks the end of using the intentional manner extroverted intuition. Extroverted intuition, you're still talking about possible ideas. Extroverted sensing, you're doing one of them, So I would say that your decisive types are ESFP and ESTP. They're the most decisive. You could also say ISTP and ISFP are decisive because they have dual function SE. It plays out differently. It's not an absolute value, but it's still valued. Be right back. I'm just getting a drink.
Yeah. I'm so sweaty.
Here, you let you do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No, I'd say they are. I'd say they're decisive. Some people would call them impulsive, the SE types. You might say that about the NE types as well. But you are much less likely to say about the NE types that they're decisive, right? Both types are impulsive, but only the SE types are decisive. NE types are, they can appear decisive, certainly within their native ecosystem of metaphysical stuff, of talking. They can be quite decisive. But in terms of actually life, making decisions, I don't like making decisions. Making decisions takes a long time for me. I like to, the only area in life where I like to make decisions is in my relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like right off the bat with Rachel, when she came into the relationship, I kept saying things like, you need Oliver Linehan, you're onto something there. That's the new way we do it.
It is the way.
Oliver Linehan's sick. Everybody, let's shut down society completely.
Completely.
Judicious types, I would say your TE SI is definitely judicious in the sense that my dad doesn't like to have shit sprung on him, and neither does Cameron. So your SI DOMs, SI tool functions, they don't like to have shit sprung on them. I mean, I'm agreeing with socionics in this instance. It's not because I know the socionics perspective, but because it's perspective you're talking about right here seems to match my own about this. I am fairly familiar with socionics. I probably looked into that system more than any other. I'm not supporting the theory of temperaments. I'm telling you that it is the case, probably, that, TE DOMs and TE tool users don't like to be surprised. If that's the thing about temperaments, then fine. But that's not taken from temperaments. It's just taken from the fact that this happens when you have any 4 or any 3. Just like I don't like to have a lot of FE demanded of me. If that lines up with something C.S. Joseph said, well, blind squirrels get occasional nut. Broken clocks rung twice a day. So that's fine. He's not necessarily wrong about everything. The problem is his whole frame of reference is wrong. You emailed me about 3 hours ago? Okay. I should check my email.
I saw it. I just went through your stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's got the most important stuff on top.
Okay. Is there anybody who wants to book a session?
Not that I read.
Okay. The thing is, okay, well, judicious and SI would make sense. 4th slot, 3rd slot SI is going to be very opposed to improvisation demanding circumstances. A blind clock finds a broken nut twice a day. I guess even a blind clock finds a way to bust a nut twice a day. You're working on a cognitive function book, I say? Good. I'm glad to hear it. Oh, Isaiah, don't get too excited, because that assumes you're going to stay on this one task for that long. A blind clock finds a way to bust a nut twice a day should be my campaign slogan for 2024. I agree. Well, I mean, you could sell it after that, Isaiah.
Yeah. Elvis saying, "Love me tender."
Have you ever met an ESFP Karen? Well, you can't put Karen in YouTube without getting censored. I'm sorry, but reading a comment about tenderness and hitting buttons made me think of boobs. That's fine. It's a normal, natural thing, Lawnmower, to have things make you think of boobs is fine. Yeah, do a read aloud. Al is a teacher? Or do you mean AI? Karen is a slur? That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. It's not nice. Oliver Lighthand is rolling them out.
Hopefully not, Jay.
Yeah, hopefully not. Indeed, I'd cling to that. Since Mom was offended.
Well, Jade, I gotta admit something. You've been treated pretty arbitrarily tonight, okay? I have to come right out and just say this right off the bat, Jade. You have not deserved, based on what you've done tonight, any of these timeouts, okay? I concede that, just so you know. I can't be so unfair as to not at least admit that. You have deserved none of your timeouts tonight, Jared.
No, I know. That's why I was kind of surprised myself, actually. I just want to say that I love that this place is totally like getting our vibe now with like.
It makes me want to just clean it up, you know.
Well, we will tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll clean it up. It's starting to get messy.
Do you want me to?
No, it's fine. It's like when my dad was down here too. My dad went back to Arcadia. When my dad was down here too, I would worry about him coming in and fussing about shit, which of course he did. You know, it's funny because then he kind of like caught himself and regretted it, and you know. So, what is the male equivalent of a Karen called? I don't think it's a Kevin, Diamond, although I like your thinking.
Me too.
But I think it's a Barry.
I like your icon too.
I think it's a Barry and a Karen. Karen and Barry.
Karen and Barry?
I'm Barry. And I'm Karen. And together we're worried about things.
Aww.
Maybe there's a better name than Barry.
I knew a Pat and Barry.
What's a really like bland kind of name?
Todd.
Todd? Todd. I don't think that Todd is the male equivalent of Karen, but Brett sounds like kind of the right name.
Brett is definitely.
Brett's a good call there.
Yeah.
Oliver. Bryce?
No.
No, a little too Cody-ish.
Chris.
Chris
and Karen.
Greg and Karen. Greg's pretty good as well. But I'm inclined towards that first one that Oliver said, Brett. I think Brett is perfect.
Brett and Karen.
Brett. I'm Brett.
You know that Brett definitely wears his collars up.
Uh-huh. Eric is a good common name. Eric's a pretty common name. It's common for my generation. It's not actually as common nowadays. It's like when I was named Eric was the peak of Eric namings.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like my parents went with a fairly common name when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But it's gotten less common.
Yeah.
Who is the first person that comes to mind when you think of ESTP? Well, for me, it's Taylor of Flow State, but that's because he's my friend, and I'm SI.
For me, it's Delilah.
Oh, it's Delilah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But I don't know Taylor.
It's funny I think of Taylor before I think of Delilah. It's because I've known Taylor as an ESTP longer than I've known Delilah as an ESTP.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, my mom wrote this really great short story about her childhood experience with scorpions. Rachel's right here.
Batman voice. Yeah, I'm right here. I'm in the chair next to Eric.
Okay, David Sanderson. What did you email me that's so important? Some thoughts on cognitive functions or something?
That's what most of them are about.
It's like, my son's name is Eric and he's an INTP. Taylor was my daughter's name.
Oh.
Delilah is my daughter's name. And when I named her that, it was a very rare name, but it's gotten more common since.
Yes, it has.
ESTJ plus INTP equals ENTP.
My name used to be rare when I was young too, until Friends, and then it started to get more popular.
Well, that's another way to put it, BMAC. A little bit more vulgar, perhaps. and is necessary, but
we like to include
that's
everyone
fine.
here at TWFP.
welcome.
Even a broken
Did
foot.
did Batman make Rachel popular? Is there a Rachel in Batman?
Yeah, there's Rachel and Batman.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I can't think. Is it Alfred's girlfriend?
Wouldn't that be spicy?
Alfred's 24-year-old girlfriend. That would be an interesting plot twist for Batman. If Alfred at age 75 or whatever got like this 24-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah, that would be one twist.
And everybody thinks the girlfriend's trying to like either is actually like a supervillain trying to infiltrate, or maybe trying to get in on a superhero thing. But it turns out in the end she's really just madly in love with Alfred.
I fucking love that. That would be so great. That's what Catwoman really is. She's after Alfred.
TE thinks everything can be reduced to a math problem. TI thinks math can be extrapolated to a universal code of reality. I don't think that's correct about TI. I don't think it's correct about TE either. I mean, sort of is correct about TE, but TI thinks basically that we can communicatively agree about what. Well, I do have some haters, Jade. I don't blame you for disliking. After all,
We know
you were arbitrarily put on timeout a few times. That's fine. What can we say? What can I say, Jade? It's like that's not even me, man. I never thought I'd be party to such unfairness. You must have really got to my FI, Jade. Okay. Anyway.
My signature.
Thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
What if the TI or TE user hates maths? Well, I mean, I think what David Sanderson's probably trying to say is that, I mean, if you want to talk about maths, theory is about proofs and the way you can get to them in multiple ways and stuff. And that logic can allow us to understand what's universally upheld and what's just particularly upheld. See, I disagree with you that TI, I think you can come up with a universal code, unless you might think that being able to distinguish between universal and particular is itself a universal code. But, yeah. Vincent's problem. No, we're not going to do that. Oh, yeah.
It's like, it's so warm outside that like the air is so like heavy. Don't you think it's heavy?
Why doesn't Eric understand he's an ESTP? I mean, why don't I agree that I'm an ESTP?
Oh, you're gonna join me?
Yeah, I got some more to say that. Lots of good reasons. I don't really feel like arguing about right now. More good reasons than you can shake a stick at? How's that for an answer? If I'm an ESTP, what is Taylor?
ISFJ.
We're just sort of, I gotta get my cigarettes and put them aside. I mean, this is a question I can never get an answer from. Yeah, right. I never get an answer to this. Like, well, what would an ENTP look like? People just won't answer these questions, You look at your analysis when it comes to questions which can be used for typing. A good question to reliably identify FI in a person. Okay, well, the answer to that, Tommy Walmart, is not really. That's an area where I don't have any good, really firm questions that I can ask. Some of them are more indicative of things than others, but you like the layout of the condo? Looks cozy, comfortable, and a good place to vacation. Yeah, it's nice. It's
It's
pleasant.
very nice.
It's
Can I have the lighter, please?
it's very comfortable. Can TE use its indoor voice for once, or is that just my INTJ girlfriend? Can TE use its indoor voice? Eric's not an ESTP. These hundreds of live streams where he just sits and talks and rarely moves around without some SI or any related reason. At least that's what it seems to me. I mean, anybody who's got a clear sense of what would comprise a stereotypical ENTP would describe me. I mean, I hate to be so stereotypical, but I really am very stereotypical ENTP.
Yeah.
I'm even a professional debate coach, for Christ's sakes. It's like, what more ENTP-esque thing could I be than that?
He even says some of the same things that like characters who are based on ENTP writers say the same thing.
Yeah, I can always tell when it's an ENTP writer. I always feel like they're stealing my jokes. And in fact, they like that not really stealing my jokes. It just, feels that way to me because I was like, yeah, I'd make that joke for a long time. Now they have that in a movie. I finally found my type. I'm a redacted. Oh, Oliver Lyman, I'm sorry to hear that you've been censored by the typology NSA. It kind of looks like Socrates, who's also an EHP. I would like to get my beard cut a little bit and my hair cut. Try to look a little bit more. Yeah, we got them at home. Try to look a little bit more on point, so to speak. Thank you, Rich Ramey. It's awesome to me to be part of this kind of conversation. You rock. Thank you, Sean O'Neill.
Yeah, thank you.
Might Eric Weinstein be an EHP? I think he's an ISFJ, personally. But I could be wrong about that. He could be an EHP. It's hard to read the chat out here. My eyes aren't that good in my old age. Is Dan Harmon an INFJ? Does he write ENTPs? He's either an INFJ or an ENTP. He's probably an INFJ from what I've seen him on stuff, but I really don't know exactly. A double observer? I'm not sure what that would be. You mean like INTP or Yeah, that's true, Tony. Right now, I'm kind of a low energy HP. So I'm on sleepy week due to my cycle of amphetamine. My wonderful cycle. And you know, I really think that there are only a few I'm sleepy week right now. SX and NX are observers. Well, SX is, I mean, SE and SI and NE and NI are observers. That's insane. They're that's silly. It's not saying anything. ASTP and INFP are worlds apart. Double observer comes from DSP. It means you're ENFJ, ESFJ, ENTJ, ESTJ, INFP. That's a lot of types. Okay, that's silly, Sean. Don't listen to DSP. He doesn't know what he's talking about. No, that's not. Okay, yes, SI organizes data, and SE does not. SE is not a data gathering function. It's an action function. Extrovert intuition is also an action function. See, data goes in multiple directions. You can put information, you can get information, you can receive information, and you can interface with dynamic systems. So those are the 4 kind of functions we have. Yeah, well, whether DSP is worse than CSJ. See, this is one thing I'll say about DSP. At least he has some metric that he tries to use to justify things with. He's okay, look, I agree, Ollie. DSP is so amazingly trash. But at least he makes an attempt to appeal to some kind of a metric. Well, that's my biggest problem with C.S. Joseph. He doesn't even make an attempt to appeal to any kind of metric.
No.
He just refers to, you read the book, or, well, my mentor.
Then I think one of his mentors is Taylor, because he like dresses like Taylor now. It's so weird.
There's a big debate. Yeah, Sean O'Neill. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. There is a big debate. The thing, and it really depends on. Jeff's mom's calling me.
You don't have to answer it.
I'll text her. Still 109 degrees?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really still 109 degrees outside?
It's nuts.
It's 109, feels like 109. It's also 9 p.m.
Wow, that's a lot of nines.
109 degrees.
Oof. I was choking outside.
You want to see us Joseph's babies? Well, you can have them, Jade. I don't think you're going to find much competition for them around here.
No.
So, C.S. Joseph's type grid is 100% accurate, huh, Bubble Puppy? Okay. Why did you go somewhere where it's 109 degrees? I'm saying it's not 109 in LA. Well, we're on vacation here in the desert where my dad has these timeshares. And we came down here just to get away. And it's been nice, you know. It's like,
yeah.
it's a different space. It's It's a nice condo. It's got this living room. It's got a little dining room right there, kitchen, bathroom over there. There's, the bedroom's in a separate room. It's like a 1-bedroom condo suite thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. The yeah, well, the thing is, what's wrong with Celsius? Celsius is terrible. Listen, you got to use Fahrenheit. Everybody knows that. Fahrenheit's the only true way to measure the temperature. C.S. Joseph and DSP are not on the same team with each other either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with it, Sean O'Neill, is this 512 subtypes are insane. It's absolutely insane. There are 16 types for a reason. And it is because there are 4 kinds of functions and they need to match up with each other. So it's like, if you're an action dominant, you need to have a deliberation function because action and deliberation go together naturally, sort of, and inherently or whatever. And knowledge and interface functions go together because when you're interfacing with the dynamic system, you need to know rather than deliberate. It needs to be faster in that regard. Well, they don't agree with each other. Cloud, they don't say the same things at all. I mean, just because they're both wrong doesn't mean they're the same kind of wrong, right? I mean, they haven't meaningfully acknowledged me in any sense. It's like nobody really wants to take me on. The thing is, when I talked with DSP at one occasion, I asked him a couple questions. He couldn't answer them. He had no good justification for these things. Yes, action function. It's a deliberation function, which means you deliberate, think about things. Here, I'll get you the quick reference guide. All right, so here's the thing. The other thing to remember is this. The way I type people, I talk to somebody for an hour, like a client, for an hour, asking them specific questions, following up on things, answering challenges, explaining stuff, etc. I do this and have done it for a long time now. I've typed a lot of people. I spent a lot of hour-long sessions with people, asking them questions, etc., checking various tests against reality. The other people I'm going up against here in the typology community, you'll note they don't type people by actually talking to them usually. C.S. Joseph will, but like DSP doesn't. He has them send in videos. I'm quite convinced that C.S. Joseph has not typed as many people as I have, at least in the sense of spending an hour asking him questions and stuff. I mean, if C.S. Joseph's right about his type grid, he doesn't need anywhere close to an hour to type them. So, if he could type me in 5 seconds after I said cheese, then he certainly doesn't need an hour to type anybody, right? I just remember something. We can start calling INTJs Bens. Bens? Why?
Ben for basic name.
Oh. For INTJs? Okay. Can you elaborate by what you mean on deliberation function? Sure. deliberation function is using introverted thinking or introverted feeling to come to a conclusion about something over time. So what I mean by that is a knowledge function. If I ask you, what country is the Eiffel Tower in, you know the answer. It's France. And you don't have to think about it, and you don't have to figure it out. Whereas if I give you a complicated problem of some sort, like a complicated math problem, you're going to have to figure it out. You have to, if I say, if A and B, then C, and if D, then not C, and D, therefore, you're going to have to figure it out, right? You've been trying to identify a purely TI question. The best you can come up with right now is, what is a chair? I mean, I think the most TI questions are those that are tests of conditional logic. Can ENTPs ever do project management? Well, I was director of a fairly large organization when I ran Kudos. Mortgage. If a programmer had to solve a problem, how would a TI user differ from an NITE user? I think that NITE users are much more likely to inherently and naturally take advantage of the modularity of things. That is to say, you can pull a node out of utility from some existing, I guess, library of sub apps, So I think programming has moved from more of a TI domain to more of a TE domain, in the sense that TI is less required, in the sense that you're not really doing as much line by line coding, and you're more integrating different nodes, I guess. So that's more of a TE kind of frame of reference. Oliver and Cloud and whoever else was involved in this discussion, I myself am split between those two types for Ben Shapiro. I think he might be an ESTJ. I've seen an ESTJ very much like him because I worked with my ex-assistant debate coach, Scott Wheeler, who's gone on to be probably arguably the best policy debate coach in the country at a high school level. So there's no doubt that ESTJs can be very effective debaters. Wheeler was great. And of course, what it requires is that they debated competitively. Shapiro is not an ISTJ, Jackman. No way. Zero chance. It is possible he's an ESTJ then. But he could be an ENTP. This would be the other thing I'm thinking. I'm not sure. I'd have to type him, Yeah, I'd have to talk to him to type him. The thinking behind the question is the creation of a subjective taxonomy seems to be a purely TI type activity. I could be wrong. Well, that's the thing. If this were a purely subjective taxonomy, then it would still be subject to TI. It would be a TI activity, but it would still have to be consistent within itself. What I've made the distinction of here in talking about typology in general is that the best people, except for me, doing this are at best doing a subjective taxonomy. I actually have direct skills links that I can establish as, okay, they represent something that we'll call TI because that's what it's most consistent with as far as functions go, So I actually have something that we could, in other words, it makes predictions you could test. I have things that I have hypotheses that make predictions you can test, and even if we can't exactly test it right now, it's verifiable or falsifiable. I provide a falsifiability metric, a couple of them actually. So it's different than what other people are doing. Is there an untapped direction for NI testing and simultaneous have lack of vocabulary? In other words, it seems that NI types have large vocabulary at the same time, some inability to call upon it when whatever. It's a good observation, Hebili Olklfer. I think even you would have realized the bullshittery of that if your relatives told you your whole life, you know. So I guess I'm going with ESTJ for spirit. Yeah, I mean, I would say that you can tell in the way there's a different pace of talking, right? NI users are they're not as building it on the flow, you know. It doesn't seem that way as much. So I would tend to agree with that. Oh. What is a chair is a purely TI question, I guess. I like that understanding of it. You're never drained. I see. Well, I mean, everybody will feel drained when they're compelled to occupy their polar slot for a while. But life, depending on what your polar is, it may or may not compel you to experience that, you know? So for me, with FI in my polar slot, that means that when I feel emotions, I feel very drained. That's very draining. If it's real, like authentic personal emotions of some sort, like it's related to my relationship or whatever. Jade, don't. I don't want to hear you say that. Listen, we all have to, at some point, come to accept that it's okay to feel good about ourselves, to speak highly of ourselves, and to know that, you know, so many people spend so much of our lives telling us what's wrong with us. Jade, I want to tell you in no uncertain terms, there is nothing wrong with you. Okay, and to the extent that I added it all to your own belief that there is something wrong with you, I regret that. There's nothing wrong with you. You're a good person. You should like yourself. You know,
Mhm.
I understand the pain and suffering that goes along with being in a spot where you're just done with yourself and stuff. You know, no, we don't hate you. Of course not. I don't hate you, Jake. You did get under my skin the other night successfully, but that's quite an accomplishment, actually. Most people who think they do don't. You know, you did. Um, but something of an accomplishment, really. And it goes to the territory. You know, if you want to be in front of the camera and you want to be pontificating and talking about how you write about things, people are going to come and bust your chops. We're going to come and attack and stuff. Well, Jade, I don't want you to feel worthless in general. I want you to understand your own value. And I don't know how I can facilitate that, but I know that I don't want to facilitate the opposite, that's for sure. So, you know, I'm glad you're here, and people around here are pretty good people and pretty good souls, you know. So, welcome. You don't know how to hate people. I can't see anyone doing the wrong choice because they want to cause harm. I think they just need more awareness. Hurt people hurt people. Yeah, good saying, Lawnmower. Good saying. I'm gonna have to step outside and smoke a cigarette. I'm gonna get another beer first.
I was going to chew.
I'll bring the live stream outside with me.
Okay. I'm playing my marble game.
I'm glad to hear that, though. How are you doing?
Good.
Are you winning lots of things?
I am. I'm at mastery level 15.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's pretty good, baby. Do you
Yeah.
need another one of these?
Yeah.
You want a Heineken or a Bucks?
Heine, please.
I'm glad we got 12. I'll probably cash them all tonight.
Whatever. We're on vacation, no?
All right. We are splurging.
Mhm.
We're going to drink 12, probably 12 of these non-alcoholic beers tonight. Yeah, it is kind of hard to get drunk off non-alcoholic beer. This is also 0.0%, so you can't even get that like 0.001%.
I poured some of the beer in the bong, so it tasted like weed and beer.
Yeah, Jade, I don't drink alcohol. Rachel basically doesn't drink it either. She'll occasionally have, sip of wine or something.
To be cordial.
Yeah, but
I'm not really a drinker.
We're not drinkers.
I don't like the feeling of getting drunk, and I don't like being drunk.
Well, thanks, Jade. It makes me feel better to know that I got back a little bit.
Such a fucking
Oh, my tea pour! I can't open a bottle. Oh, my adorable tea polar. There you go.
But see, like, you get that. You don't point and laugh at me. I mean,
I think it's cute.
Thank you, baby.
I think it's cute, and I like how it confirms what I believe about cognitive.
Yes, you help me. Ever since I've been typed correctly, like I fit in my own skin, and it feels so nice.
Can you grab the yellow lighter, please?
Sure.
You want to try the 33?
Yeah.
We got a little bit of that left,
Yeah, we got it left.
Excuse me. How rude of me.
Do you mind if I pour the beer in the bottle again?
That's fine. So, just remind everybody, it is over 105 out here.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Last week checked, which wasn't long ago, it was 109.
Yeah.
That's what that is. That's in the mirror.
Yeah. Period. Okay.
I'll close that blind.
There's a wind. There's a breeze, but it's a hot breeze.
Yeah.
It really is very, there you go.
It's impressively hot.
Yeah.
Don't forget to thank Mr. What does it say? Miyamoto? But I don't know who Mr. Miyamoto is. Let's see. People should really just stop thinking. Reject modernity. Embrace. What does that say? God, my old eyes can't read that.
You know, I think one of my favorite thing of the Rear Window was
What?
the visual colors of it. It was very stunning. Like colorfully, like all their lipsticks were so bright.
This is a good idea, you think? For some reason?
It's called also a lazy idea.
Or you didn't want to go inside and put water in it, I see. Okay, next time I'll bring some water out. This 33 is good stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm. I've been there, Jade. It's a human experience.
It's a little low, the level of water.
Yeah.
So I would suggest just
leave it.
Tilt it forward a little bit.
Tilt it
Yeah.
forward?
That's
Okay.
good.
I have a habit of doing that anyway, so thank you.
We are in Palm Desert, which is a desert vacation community near Palm Springs. I got it, Ryan. Glad I got to hear your thoughts. Thank you're one of the best MDK thinkers online. Thank you.
Thanks, Tommy Walmart.
Yeah, rock on. I like there was a slight buffer right when you took a hit. We need to convince Rachel to get a Switch now. What, did I get in trouble? Fetch me a Switch.
I'd love a Switch, but no. Animal Crossing? I might. Is that a Switch game? Or could I do that on my phone? I played the Marvel game and I play Subway Surfers, but like I'm not playing that anymore. Because I like to save space so I can upgrade my phone. I deleted it. And then like I tried to sign in with my name, with my username, and I did. And everything that like all my points and everything were gone. Everything. I was like, are you kidding me? So not a fan anymore. So Animal Crossing sounds like it might be up my alley if it's on your phone. I thought it sounds fun.
It sounds like animals might be involved, along with crossing.
Yeah.
The combination of which is some of.
Oh, is it Oliver's birthday?
How old are you, Oliver?
No. That's great. That's a...
What feels like a waste of your Adderall, Isaiah? Masturbating? It is. It's a waste of your Adderall.
Anamorphic creatures? Are they cute? I would play Madden too. If we had I'm pretty good at video games. I played them a lot as a kid.
There you go.
Thank you.
This is pretty good weed.
Yeah, it is.
What happened, Jade? Did you shit on their pillows one night? And they all said, that's it. We're tired of you shitting on our pillows. We're not going to be friends with you anymore. You shit on my pillow for the last time, Jade.
That's like a real territory thing to do.
It's a little bit of a boundary crossing.
Yeah, boundary crossing for sure.
The Phineas Gage story makes me think evil isn't real. The Phineas Gage story? I mean, really, who needs evil in the world when you have stupidity? It's pretty bad.
ERB.
Oh, yeah, that story. I know what you're talking about. So I'm going to pull this bowl. I'm going to go back inside. Oof. It is certainly warm out here. Jordan Peterson said evil is very real. I mean, I don't disbelieve in evil. I'm just saying most of what's attributed to evil is probably attributable to something else. More, you know, mostly evil manifests as I suspect, an inability to sustain healthy intimate relationships and replacing them with something else. Depending on what you replace them with, is they're going to be more or less evil, quote unquote. Like let's look at one of the more evil things in human history: the Dave Matthews Band. Few would deny the pure, unadulterated evil of the Dave Matthews Band. Nobody could be that bad accidentally. On the other hand, you get the sense that Kings of Leon, they're just naturally that bad. They can't help it. Drake, pretty evil. Pretty evil. Incredibly shitty. Somehow manages to get his shit played on the radio anyway. You know, terrible. Sex is on fire, right? Yeah, that band, it's like they don't know. They didn't purposely be that terrible. They stumbled into it with just native natural terribleness. But Dave Matthews Band, they've worked hard to be that terrible. That's what makes them more evil. Yeah. You're currently enduring a weed crisis? I am so sorry. So sorry to hear that. ESTPs are nicer than people give them credit for. It's true. Do you think Drake killed XXXTentacion? Oh, they don't have any good albums. I'm not sure of that, but I'm sure of it anyway. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap this live stream up. It's been an hour. That's about my limit at the moment. And sleepy week, so I will see you all on the flip-flop. Don't forget to